welcome to Walking Water. I'm Bart. This reading is intended to take a look at the blind spots that might be in your life right now. Most of us, of course, have something that we might not be seeing clearly, or so whatever situation in your life that you might not be seeing clearly, this reading is about. So let's see what Spirit has to say. Community is at the bottom here, which of course is things that are kind of hidden from plain sight, or going on in the shadows, things you might not be aware of, that type of thing. But let's see here. There's some disturbances in your energy here. Something is a little concerning, I'm hearing. I get this upheaval energy with this, this kind of like something is being stirred up. Now there's a lot of crows on this card, so this might involve a larger group of people, or this could just be aspects within yourself that are playing wildly, I hear. But whatever it is, something is disturbed here. Something is out of balance. There's a degree of illusion, so there's something here that you are telling yourself that's not actually true. Maybe a story, a pattern, whatever it is, something that's been going on for a while is my feeling with it. And it's like you're kind of, somehow you're preparing for something here with the preparation card. Either you are preparing for it, or Spirit is preparing you for something to become clear, to come out of the illusion, for something to somehow come into broad daylight. I don't know, that feels a little but that's kind of the feeling I'm getting with it. Let's see, can we get a little bit more information about what this blind spot is all about? For some of you, I think this is, or this has to do with that you don't really see how extensive this actually is. It's kind of like you've told yourself, well, this is not a big deal. This is, this too shall pass. All of that type of energy. But it seems like, there's, with the illusion, there's just something you're not seeing here. Let's see, what else? Yeah, confusion. See, so it's kind of the same energy. It's like, well, there's just something about the situation that you're not really picking up on. Expression is at the bottom here. So perhaps someone is saying something to you and you're not really, it's kind of like there's a need to read between the lines, and you haven't really done that. You just taken whatever they're saying for face value. And Spirit is like, well, there's more to this story than what you're just kind of picking up on here. So tell me more about this challenge, Spirit. What is going on here for the collective that's tuning into this? And this is Walking Wilder. And if this reading resonates with you, I would greatly appreciate if you leave a comment or press like or subscribe to the channel. Five of Pentacles at the bottom here. This is like, something is lacking. This is the sense of not having enough, of not really, but I don't, it's not in the not having enough. It's like something is just not, in whatever connection this is bringing up for you, there's something that's out of balance, something that's just not abundant, not giving you what you're needing, not just not enough, you know. With the Emperor in the challenge position here, it's kind of like, this to me is, he's like the leader of the pack here, but it's sort of like he's also the lone wolf energy in this deck for me. And here's the King of Wands with the leadership. I don't know, there's something with the manifestation that's, with whatever it is you're trying to manifest in regards to this whole situation. See, here she is, but there's the full moon also, which of course, the moon energy is about manifesting, it's about intuition, it's about all of those things, but it's also about the things that we don't see completely clearly, because it is nighttime. So it's like something is just not totally out in the light. Again, it's like you're telling yourself a story that's not entirely true. I'm not saying it's totally false. It's just like it feels like there's bits and pieces of it that you kind of painted in a different color than what the reality in this is, creating this confusion. For some of you, it's another person or other people who are creating the confusion because they keep telling you things that are not really true, but not not false enough that you are automatically seeing this is bullshit type of thing. So it's like you're kind of being deceived in this because it doesn't seem far enough out for some reason. Tell me more about the King of Wands and the Emperor. Yeah, here's the Devil energy. The Ace of Wands here. It's like there's something you're trying to create, something you're trying to manifest that is just not right, with the Ace of Wands and the Devil energy here. There's some level of deceit. And perhaps, for some of you, it's that you're just not really seeing how the other person is actually lying. It's kind of like there's a part of you that wants to believe that underneath it all, underneath here was the community card, that underneath it all, they carry a totally, their nature here. Here is nature. That underneath all of whatever this is, there's a part of them that's, is not like that, that is, holds a different energy. And it's just like you're kind of telling yourself that if you can only get past this layer of whatever this is, that's disturbing the whole energetic field between the two of you, or however many is involved, then you'll see a different side, and it'll be like, then there's a chance for everything to transform somehow. All right, Spirit, tell me a little bit more about this illusion here. Perspective. Yeah, there's something you need to change. Can I find a place where you can actually see this? This is the Hangman. There's something here where you've been waiting a while to see, is this going to change? Is there another way to see this? It's kind of like, it feels like you're really stuck, between this Emperor sitting here howling at the moon, kind of being like, I'm the lone wolf, I'm hanging out here waiting for whatever it is you're waiting for, and the King of Wands, which normally he's like taking leadership, he is creative, he is passionate, he's out there creating things, but it's like there's this energy of kind of waiting for something that's not really happening, or at least it hasn't so far. So your manifestation is sort of in the dark, if that makes sense. Not in the sense that it's bad, but it's just like you're kind of manifesting from a false place. The foundation of whatever you know, where you're standing and why you're trying to manifest that is just not true. Or at least, you know, partly not true. I'm not necessarily, you know, it's not like you're totally wrong. It's just like there's parts of it that you're not seeing. Can I know more about what this actually is? And of course, it's probably different from everybody, but let's see if we can know more. 9 of Wands. Yeah, whatever it is, it's something that, you know, that you've kind of been dealing with for a long time, and you kind of felt like you had to stand your ground, you know, defend yourself in some way. It feels like trying to be who you are without other people telling you, no, you need to, or maybe not that you need to, but that, you know, kind of just judging you in ways. So it's like, this is a weird energy. Can I know more about this? Let's see here. Yeah, what you don't see. See? It's like there's just something about this whole situation that you're not seeing. But what is it though? Duality. Yeah, that's exactly the feeling I have. It's like on one hand, you know, this is not, it's not like it's totally wrong what you think it is, but it's just like it has layers that you're not seeing, or it has this, you know, duality contained. See clearly, yeah, you need to see clearly, but I see your soul. All right. Tender. There's something about here that in this situation, the person or people that you're dealing with are showing you who they are at this point in time in the 3D world, the persona that they are playing out, but you see their soul. And so you're kind of like disregarding whatever it is they're doing in the 3D world that is not, you know, that is not good. You know, it's at least it's not a good situation for you. Because you're seeing their soul, you're kind of like, yeah, you know, but underneath all of that, they are, you know, their soul is beautiful. And of course it is, you know, it's their soul. But it's like, right now they are playing a different role in the 3D world. Now for some of you this might change. You know, there is this sense of being prepared for some sort of change here. But it almost feels like it's important that you see everything there is to see in this blind spot, that you kind of realize that, yes, you know, you see their soul, and this is probably a soul bond connection. Well, you know, for most of you it is, no doubt. But you still need to see what they're doing in the 3D, because you can't really you can't live your life in the 3D world if you're constantly, you know, above everything and just kind of like, yeah, you know, but it's kind of like you're forgiving BS that shouldn't take place, is basically what I'm getting with this. So, Spirit, what is going to help the collective see this clearly? What supporting energy do we have here? Okay, that's too many. I hope this makes sense to you. It's like, yeah, the star, which is healing here. This is exactly what I was talking about. Here's the 7 of Wands. You need to put up really firm boundaries for this. And here's the Lover's card. Yeah, soul bond connection, no doubt. but there still needs to be balance. Here's the Queen of Swords. So there's something here that you need to see very, very clearly and be... My feeling with it is there's some sort of behavior, something going on that you need to really, really sharply say, hey, quit that. Don't do that. Get the heck out of my energy. Stop it. I don't trust you. Whatever it is you have to say. It's kind of like you have... I'm seeing someone stamping in the ground. You have to put your foot down and go like, that's enough BS. I'm not buying into this anymore. Yeah, I see your soul. And I don't know if this is connection where you can actually say that to the person. But, you know, it's like, yeah, I see your soul. But I also see this duality within you. I see the games you're playing in the 3D worlds. And I'm not going to accept that. I'm just not. You know, here's the tender card. It's kind of like you've been too caring. Well, maybe not too caring, but too forgiving, you know, and it's kind of created this sense with this person, and they may not be aware of this, you know, but it's still there. This underlying thing, well, you know, the collective is always going to forgive me. They are, you know, seeing everything from a higher perspective. They are, you know, so I can kind of get away with whatever. The interesting, why are they trying to get away with stuff? Can I know that, Spirit? Why is this energy, why are they trying to get away with stuff? Four of Cups. Judgment at the bottom here. Here's the Three of Swords. Queen of Wands, Chariot. Some of them, you know, have been really hurt in the past. And I don't think that this is you that has hurt them, but it's kind of like they carry this deep inner wounding with them that they haven't really addressed. You know, with the Four of Cups here, it's kind of like, yeah, Spirit has been trying to tell them, you know, you need to work on this. You need to see this within yourself. You need to, whatever it is, in order to heal this situation. And they're like, nah, you know, I'm not touching that. And you see this. You sense, you know, you sense this sorrow in them. And that is why you're kind of like forgiving shit that really shouldn't be forgiven. Well, you know, but at least should be definitely very much addressed and, you know, be like, that's it. I am not, you know, I'm not playing that game. So it's kind of like, you know, here's the Four of Pentacles. It's kind of like you have accepted a stability that's worth less than what you could have. You know, there's no Ten of Pentacles here. There's the Four of Pentacles, yeah. You know, see how, you know, there's a foundation here, but it's not what it could be. It's not what you really should be demanding of, you know, of the situations in your life. Here's the Chariot, the forward movement. So, you know, Spirit is like, well, you really, and this I think is you showing up here, the Queen of Wands. You really are, you know, a very strong manifester, a very intuitive person, just able to connect to the universe, to see things from a higher perspective, see how she's, you know, she's connecting here. And that's all fine and good. Just don't let that ability, you know, mess with your capability to set a very firm boundary. Because you obviously you can do that, but Spirit is like, well, that might have been lacking for a while with this particular energy, whether it's one or more persons. So the Judgment card, you know, it's time you see this for what it is and go like, you know, put up a boundary. See it clearly. Seven of Wands here. Put up a boundary for this and say, I am not playing this game. I see you, so sure. We're soulmates, sure. But enough is enough now. Shape up, or, you know, things are going to have to change. What don't the collective see coming in this for, like, I don't know, a couple of months maybe? Can we know something about what they don't see coming here? Seven of Cups, choices. So yeah, for some of you, you know, there's going to be opportunities here to choose a different path, to kind of move in a new direction from all of this. I'm kind of curious though, if you put down your foot, what's going to happen here? Can we know something about that, Spirit? Page of Wands. She's, you know, exploring new paths, new ways of looking at the world, learning something new, on a quest to, I don't know, self-improve maybe is the word I'm seeing here, but I don't know, what is she learning something about? Six of Swords, leaving conflict behind. Now for some of you, this means that you are going to just say, I've had enough of whatever bullshit it is that's going on here, and I'm going to go look for places where I have more choices to learn, to, you know, grow, develop, all of that good stuff. And for others of you, the energy in this might change if you actually put your foot down and say, okay, I call you, I see what you're doing, and I am not playing this game, shape up, or, you know, I'm leaving. With the Page of Wands here, I'm going to go explore the world and see what else is out there for me. Can I know more about what's manifesting in the next couple of months here? These cards are not really playing with me today. Six of Wands, success. However that's going to look for you. For some of you, it's going to be, see how she's standing here, very much in her own power. For some of you, the success here is that you're finally calling it quits on something that you knew for a long time. You've known for a long time. You really need to put your foot down. You know, she's like, well, you can't see, but she looks like she's, I'm standing right here, putting my foot down. That's enough. Now, that may change the energy in the whole relationship, whatever it is, somehow. Can we get a possible outcome here, Spirit? Well, here's the Moon, so it's still kind of up in the air, which, you know, let's see. Can I know more about a possible outcome here? Here's the Queen of Pentacles, nurturing energy. One more. Eight of Pentacles. There's an energy of working on a more nurturing connection here. Now, if that is you working on that with the other person, or if it's you working on that with yourself, I don't really know. Can we know something about that, Spirit? Justice. Page of Swords, being curious. Temperance. Yeah, so whatever, and here's the Five of Pentacles again at the bottom of the deck. You're definitely going to choose whatever you perceive as being just in this situation. For some of you, that means you're going to walk away and saying, I've spent enough time on this. For others of you, it might be that there's somehow going to be created a better sense of balance in this. And this might be, you know, created by you putting your foot down and just saying, I'm not putting up with this anymore. And sort of, you know, rising into this energy here of, now we have 3 queens on the table here, you know, of this energy of being grounded, seeing clearly, taking care of yourself. And this doesn't, you know, it doesn't have to be that you're a woman, you know, whatever, but it's the energy of being able to take care of yourself, able to kind of say, okay, you do your thing over here. I am not accepting into my life anything that doesn't feel good, you know. So if you can't shape up, if you can't do the right thing, whatever that is in this situation, then I really don't care that I see your soul. I mean, you do care that you see their soul, but then you're like, then I'm done playing in the 3D world. We'll see each other on the other side, and then, you know, that'll be that. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune. It's kind of like you're at this point now where there's just not, you're just not going to tolerate it anymore. Whatever it is, they're either going to have to shape up, or you're going to be like, that's it, I'm done. Is there anything else I can know here? 4 of Wands. Here's 8 of Wands. So here's that, you know, something is moving really fast here. Communication is coming in, or this is you saying, you know, what you need to say. Blocking any more BS with the 2 of Swords here. But here's the Ace of Cups, you know, so there is a lot of love, whether it's between you and this other energy, or it's you and yourself. But it's kind of like the feeling of, I am going to prioritize my stability with the 4 Wands here. I'm going to prioritize my inner peace, that feeling of love, of being, of, you know, my happiness. Here's the 4 of Swords, and the King of Cups, and Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, you know, so it's kind of like you're pursuing stability, happiness, you know, love, abundance, and it's, you know, my feeling with it is that it's like you're going to be like, it can either be with whoever this is, or you're just going to move on and you're going to pursue it anyway with someone else, because it's kind of like, whatever it is, this is what you want to choose in your life. With the 7 of Cups, you want to choose something better, something more stable, a way of being in something that makes more sense, whether you see their soul or not, you know. So it's like, my basic energy with this is shape up, or yeah, or this is over. Here's the World card, end of a cycle. Here's the Tower, and here's the Wheel of Fortune. So something is definitely done here, meaning that a pattern, you allowing this to continue. And I'm not saying, you know, I mean, the other person obviously have responsibility for their behavior, but it's kind of like you have overlooked this. You've let this happen for way too long, but that's done. With this Tower, it's kind of like the Queen of Swords and the Tower. You're like, you're going to see it and you're going to be like, that's enough. End of this. I'm done with whatever this pattern is, whatever this story is here. Here's the 8 of Cups. The 6 of Cups. 8 of Cups, interesting, which of course is about leaving something. But 6 of Cups, you know, this kind of like reminiscing about the past, but it's like, here you are, putting up very firm boundaries. So whatever the past is between the 2 of you, you're not going to let that kind of sway you and prevent you from having the healthy boundaries. And I kind of feel like that's what you've done in the past. It's been like, well, you know, we have this history, I really care about this person, and I have no doubt there's love here. You really do care about this person, and I also feel that they do care about you, but it's kind of like they just, I don't know, it's kind of like it's a little, actually it's quite a bit of an immature energy, in the sense that it's like, well, I know I can get away with things, so I'm just going to do it. And I don't really know why, because it doesn't really, I don't know, it on some level it doesn't make any sense. Why don't they just, let's see if we can get an answer. Why don't they just shape up? So they just to kind of, Chariot. There's a healing energy here, and something is definitely moving. Here's the Chariot again. The Page of Cups. You might get an apology here. But that doesn't answer the question why they've been doing this for so long. The Fool, a new beginning. Justice behind that. Well, the Hanged Man. My feeling with it is that in some sense it's kind of like this has been a pattern that they just have gotten kind of used to. Yeah, Two of Pentacles. But see how, and the Devil was underneath that, see how this kind of like goes on and on and on and on. It's like this has been a pattern in their life for a very, very long time, probably ever since kids. It's something that they learned in childhood, that perhaps, you know, kind of sneaking around, not really, you know, I don't know. They have a pattern of, if I can get away with it, I'm going to do it. And it kind of feels like it's just something they've learned, you know, that they haven't really even thought about the consequences of this. They haven't seen that this pattern has had great implications on probably a string of relationships in their life, you know, and not, you know, this can be anything. It doesn't have to be romantic relationships. For a lot of you, it probably is, but it can be all kinds of things. It could be work related. It can be family. It can be, it's kind of like they haven't seen the damage that this has been doing. Will they though? That's kind of, let me see here. You know, she is kind of looking out here. See how she's sort of peeking out. There's sort of this energy. I don't know. Can you see this on this card? This gives me the sense of, it's like something is starting to dawn on them. Something is starting to heal with the Star card here. Will they actually see this? The Magician. They definitely have the possibility of doing so. Transformation, the Hermit. Yeah. They're in a process. Whoever this is, they're in a heavy process right now of actually seeing this. It's kind of like, I get this feeling of, this just dawned on me. Kind of, you know, and not, but it's like, they've seen something that they didn't see before, and are kind of starting to realize that in order to build something of value, they have to be in the world in a different way. Here's the King of Swords. He's sitting here. He's seeing clearly. I kind of get this feeling. He's like, yeah, you know, I sit here. I see my own bullshit. I see what I've been doing here, what I've been up to, what's going on. I see the reality of things. Judgment and the Devil. I see my own bullshit. It's basically what this energy is telling me here. I see how my deceit, you know, has messed with the way that I kind of came across to other people, the way that I behaved. And I really do get the sense of, for a lot of them, it's kind of like, I did this because I could. I just learned that I could get away with this. They might be very charming, very, you know, very intelligent, very whatever it is, and probably quite intuitive as well. And it's kind of like, I've learned somewhere along the way, instead of, you know, using the Magician's light side, this is how I manifest, they kind of like use the shadow side with the Devil. It's been like, yeah, I can get away with this. I can manifest easily because, you know, I'm kind of being sneaky. But the energy with this is that now they are actually seeing this is not a good way of being. This doesn't, you know, this doesn't serve either them or, you know, whoever is in their energy. And I kind of get the feeling with this that you stepping into this Queen of Swords energy and be like, okay, that's enough. You might be my soulmate. You might, you know, we might have a soul bond. We might have all of this. I might love you on a soul level. I might all of this, but that's it. You know, enough bullshit. That's kind of like what's going, you know, it's kind of like a light bulb turns on somehow. And it's probably not that instantaneously with most of them, you know, but and not also, you know, in every situation, but for a good majority of you, whoever this other energy is, they are going to see the light here. I don't know what that's going to mean in regards to your connection, but something is definitely going to shift and transform. The question is then if you're still even going to want to hang out in this, and I think that's very individual. So yeah, here's the sadness card. Some of you are going to leave this energy behind regardless, and it's kind of like this has been a teaching experience for both of you, you know, which of course is what soul bonds are for. And for others of you, you're going to see the potential in this new, and over time something might, you know, something might grow between the two of you again, but it's definitely not something that happens just, you know, from one moment to the other. But there's a possibility for some of you. So depending on if you're willing to wait for them to kind of learn this lesson. So anyways, if this resonates with you, please give it a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you. Bye for now. Big love.